who is the head of journalism for the African region of BBC World Service. He is in charge of 12 language services that reach the combined weekly audience of nearly 100 million across digital, radio, TV. BBC's Africa staff of nearly 700 is spread across London and several cities in Africa. Over the past few years, BBC Africa has introduced a wide range of TV and digital programs covering business, health, sports, fact finder that tackles the spread of misinformation, women's discussions programs, the first children's program by an international broadcaster in Africa, and the award-winning investigations documentary, Africa Eye. Solomon began his journalism career in Kenya, where he worked with the state broadcaster KBC and later joined privately owned TV station KTN. He holds a master's degree in media management and is a trustee with, I hope I don't kill this one, Okenden International, a UK-based charity that supports the rights of all refugees and displaced people. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Solomon Mugera.
Thank you so much, the chair, for that warm introduction. And as I said earlier, I've been warned that because of time, I will have to limit my contribution. So any fanciful photographs and videos, we are going to send them separately to you. When you've got time, you can look into that. And I just want to say a big thank you to Watch Democracy Grow for inviting me to this event to share with you my views about the role of journalism in promoting good governance. And it's also important at this point to state that the views that I'm sharing are personal, are not necessarily representing that of my employer, the BBC World Service, but it's fair to say that these views are informed and shaped by the work that I do and the observations that I've made over the years as a journalist, working for the BBC, and in my early years in Kenya, where I worked, as you heard there, with the state broadcaster KBC and later on with KTN. I will dwell a little bit on Nigeria because it's in the news, and again, it lends itself to the topic we're discussing right now about good governance. And the past 2 weeks, the world has witnessed protests in many parts of Nigeria against police brutality. They began as peaceful protests by largely young Nigerians demanding the disbandment of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, popularly known as SARS, or in short known as SARS. That is the reason the End SARS hashtag went viral, and protests were not only in Nigeria, but they also spread to London, New York, Berlin, Toronto, and other parts of the world. Local and foreign celebrities joined in the protests, and we saw some tough statements coming in from the United States, from Hillary Clinton and from the United Kingdom here. We also saw how the government of the United Kingdom, what it said about those protests. So far, we know nearly 70 people have been killed in the protests, majority are civilians. We had 51 of them, according to this the data that the president shared, 11 police officers and 7 soldiers. It's been 2 weeks we've witnessed jailbreaks, looting, vandalism, business premises, including a TV station being set ablaze, police stations attacked, the thrashing of the palace of the Oba, one of the traditional leaders in Nigeria. Human rights violations include the ones that we are being told SARS was being accused of. The human rights violations include torture, extortion, and extrajudicial killings. But what was really disturbing, listening to people from Nigeria, were things you wouldn't expect in a modern society. That to have an iPhone, to have a laptop, to even don dreadlocks, you would fall foul of SARS. That was enough for SARS to punish you. And the irony here is that SARS actually was created to combat armed robbery and kidnapping. So that is to fight crime, but you've got now a unit that was hell-bent on perpetuating crime. So a video of SARS killing a young man went viral, sparking those protests. And after days of those protests, SARS was dissolved. So you would say that was victory to the protesters. But this was just one of the many times that unit has been disbanded over the years. A new unit, a special response and tactics unit called SWAT, was formed. That was dismissed by protesters who saw it as simply old wine in a new bottle. And they began to demand for better governance. Well, the government has promised extensive police reforms. We've seen some action beginning to be taken there as well with that judicial review. But beyond that, Nigerians will not forget the suffering they've undergone at the hands of members of SARS, those who've lost loved ones. And if there's any process that is going on right now, they are expecting justice. So for days, events in Nigeria were trending on social media and widely covered by both local and international media organizations, including the BBC, which has a strong presence in Nigeria. In fact, Nigeria is the third largest market for the BBC after India and the United States. The BBC has got 2 bureaus in Nigeria, one in Abuja, where BBC Hausa service is based, and in Lagos, where we have got 3 language services, Pidgin, Yoruba, and Igbo. And we also have got a team that covers news events for the entire BBC in English. Over the past 2 years, the BBC has devoted resources to extensive coverage of events and issues in Nigeria. For example, last year's general election, I think is the first election we've ever had such a massive coverage with town hall debates involving candidates who are going for governors' positions. We couldn't get the presidential debate, it just didn't happen. But then we decided, why don't we do a governor's debate? And that went down very well. We've also highlighted how codeine cough syrup, a medicine that had become or has become a street drug, is destroying thousands of lives of young Nigerians. And then about 6 months ago, we had the scandal of some university lecturers demanding sex for grades. And as a result, we know action was taken. Some of those lecturers were dismissed. And we saw the Senate passing a law, an anti-sexual harassment law, to protect university students. Not long ago, we highlighted one of the torture methods used by Nigeria's SARS unit. It is known as tabe. Now, tabe involves tying hands from behind, then joining them with legs also tied from behind, arching the spine, and contorting the body into a triangle. So one is then left to lie in that position or suspended with a rope. And when you're suspended with a rope, you could see in some of the photographs, so we can't show them now, that sometimes you can be suspended with bricks or wood, with fire on the floor, rising to your belly. And we've had multiple videos showing detainees bound in that way, a manner that immobilizes them. In some cases, we see a block of stone or wood being added on the back to intensify the pain. And again, we've sent around a link for you to go and watch what tabe looks like and why SARS was using that method of torture against victims. Let me now move a little bit away from Nigeria, because there are other countries where we've also been highlighting and putting under the spotlight activities or issues that are quite disturbing. Last September, a military tribunal in Cameroon sentenced 5 soldiers, each to 10 years in jail for their part in killing 2 women and their 2 children. Now, these women, when you look at that video, you'll see these women, one has got a child strapped on her back, and the other one's a young little girl walking with the mother holding the hand. They're being led somewhere, and then blindfolded, and then they're shot from close range. The Cameroonian government initially denied that soldiers had been involved in that attack. But BBC Africa Eye team investigated footage of those killings and identified the soldiers who carried it out. They identified even the weapons they had, including the military fatigue they were wearing. And I think, to me, that was one of the best forms of journalism coming together with the technology to identify perpetrators of a crime. And I hope you have time, if you've not watched it before, please do have a look at that. It was one investigation that was praised and won so many awards, but more importantly, it is the impact that that investigation has done. As I've said, what has led to those soldiers being sentenced 10 years in jail. And again, the impact I spoke about in Nigeria, the anti-sexual harassment laws. And in terms of codeine, we saw how the government banned importation and manufacturing of codeine in the country. And we hope that some of those things we are seeing, what the government has been doing, are going to be sustainable. So to wrap up, let me just touch on the word justice, because to me, this is at the core of everything we are discussing in terms of good governance. And justice is where we in the media need to be shining our spotlight, because the mantra of Africa Rising, the mantra of this is the year guns will go silent in Africa, the mantra about let us have peace and prosperity, without a foundation of justice, it will be akin to chasing a mirage. It will be a mere postponement of a disaster. And for me, justice is about holding power in society to account. Yes, it's important to hold power to account, but equally so, it's important to hold society to account, because those in power are created by society. And that is, to me, an imperative for society at large to be equally accountable. If we do that and embrace, first of all, justice for people who have suffered for many years, people who have lost their loved ones, people who've been deprived economically and socially, people who've been left on the margins of society, people whose only alternative has been to cross the Mediterranean to look for better opportunities elsewhere, and some of them end up drowning. The word is justice. Not even peace, justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful presentation. And I want to just thank you for the work that you're doing